So tomorrow we find out if Whole Foods will bankrupt me in court. So for those of you who haven't heard, Diestel Turkey Ranch, one of Whole Foods' top-rated suppliers, has sued me for conversion and trespass, and without giving me the right to a trial. In fact, after forgetting that I had not received the right to a trial, without giving me the right to evidence, to argument, to really any sort of due process whatsoever, a California court ruled against me, now to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars, for stealing, so-called stealing, 2 baby turkeys who were sick and dying from a Whole Foods factory farm. The court itself acknowledged these turkeys were not worth much. The court established their value at $1 each, which is actually, even that is preposterous because we spent an enormous amount of resources trying to keep them alive. And of the 6 turkeys we rescued, only 2 of them survived. Those are the 2 at issue in this case. But the court ruled that beyond the $1 for each turkey, I should also be liable for all the attorney's fees and costs when Diestel Turkey Ranch sued me for allegedly stealing their turkeys back in 2017. And the reason this is preposterous, or even more preposterous than most right to rescue cases, is that the judge didn't realize we didn't have a trial. So let me just explain. What happened is Diestel sued me in 2017. In 2019, a judge set a trial date. It takes a long time to get a trial from an initial lawsuit. The trial date was set for January of 2020. But in December of 2019, the original judge, got very sick, and a new judge got assigned to the case. And the new judge didn't realize we hadn't had the trial yet and decided to issue a judgment against me, forgetting that we hadn't had a trial. And now we've been in an appellate process for the last 4 years to try and get this corrected. And if you can't believe what I'm saying, I promise you what I'm saying is true. That in this country, you can be sued, you can be denied a right to a trial, and they can hold you liable for hundreds of thousands of dollars because of a judge's mistake. And despite all that, you might still lose on appeal. But we're certainly hoping we win, and we're going to be in court tomorrow to argue exactly that, because I had a right to defend myself. I had a right to present evidence. We had a right to show a jury in Alameda County, California, the awful abuse to animals happening in Whole Foods turkey farms and the consumer fraud that covers it all up. And I think if we had gotten that right, in fact, I know if we had gotten that right, if we had been given the chance to tell the story of the animals, we would have won in court. That's exactly why Whole Foods and Diestel didn't want to give me that trial. And in court tomorrow, we'll be arguing that case. But today we thought we'd show, in a little bit of a change up for the podcast, a blast from the past. So on this podcast and on the YouTube show, we're going to publish what happened at a Whole Foods store in Boulder, Colorado, shortly after all this unfolded, after this lawsuit came into effect. And what happened was I went into a grocery store. I pointed out that Whole Foods and Diestel were violating not just the animal cruelty laws of California and Colorado, but also the consumer fraud laws. Specifically, there's a Colorado statute, the Consumer Protection Statute. Let me just pull this up real quick, which indicates, and I'm quoting here, that knowingly or recklessly making a false representation as to the characteristics of goods, foods, services, or property is a crime. Let me actually just confirm that's a crime. I forget if it's a civil or, I'm sorry, it's not a crime, it's just unlawful. So it is a civil violation for which a violation can lead to $2,000 to $20,000 per violation, and the additional possible penalty of potential damage awards in a private civil action. So you have a right to a private civil action. The government can also hold you accountable to the tune of up to $50,000 for every instance of making a false representation. So after years, in fact, 3 years of trying to get Whole Foods to answer a question, after pointing out that Whole Foods on its own website says that they answer questions from consumers and the public about their products, and that they believe in transparency, it's one of the most fundamental values. After being sued by Whole Foods and Diestel to the point that they wouldn't allow me into one of their grocery stores, when I was in Colorado traveling, because the injunction did not apply to the state of Colorado, I went into a Colorado Whole Foods with some pictures of the conditions animals are raised in, and with a warning sign that basically pointed out that a lot of what you're hearing from Whole Foods is just an outright lie. And our goal was just to see if anyone would answer a question. And what happened is probably the most preposterous experience I've had in my life. So first, instantly, within, I think, 5 seconds of me arriving at the store and just going to the butcher counter and asking a manager, is it okay if I ask a question? They're already not only saying we can't ask questions in violation of their own company's policies, but they're threatening to call the police and have me arrested. And second, when I actually interact with the police afterwards, despite the fact that, and this is from the police report itself, despite the fact that the police indicate that even the security officers inside the entrance were unaware there was even a problem, the police arrest me for asking a question. And here is the best part. The best part is they didn't arrest me for disorderly conduct, which I think would have been wrong, but I could kind of see it. They didn't arrest me for trespass. The key charge on the criminal complaint against me was threatening bodily injury. So for going into a Whole Foods and asking them where the turkey comes from, for showing them an image, I shot a photograph that I shot of an actual Whole Foods turkey farm showing a baby bird with a mutilated beak, unable to eat, starving to death. They charged me after they committed violent acts against animals with a violent act myself, merely for asking questions about their violent acts. And the reason I think this is important is because this is happening all over the country with powerful systems. This is a concept called projection, where you point out some powerful system or person is doing something wrong, and they turn the tables on you and lie, outright lie, and say you're doing exactly what they are doing, right? And this is a multi-year journey. I think it took almost 2 years to resolve this case. And another piece of this is the corporate influence on our legal system. Because you might think, and I challenge you to watch this video and find where I threatened anyone with bodily injury, right? Watch the video. It's a 30-minute video. It's hilarious. You see a Whole Foods manager immediately threaten to arrest me within minutes. You see them stumbling and bumbling, and I tell the audience, which was on live stream at the time, but in some cases just grocery store customers, because some of the customers actually stopped and listened and talked to me and asked me what my concerns were about the Diestel turkey. But throughout this kind of roughly 15-minute time period, I think it's around 15 minutes, that I'm in Whole Foods, I am insanely, or I shouldn't say insanely, that's so, Cassie's in my ear telling me I'm being ableist. Cassie, well, I shouldn't even say. It doesn't matter. Cassie is a friend of mine that I'm not allowed to talk to because am I getting in trouble? I don't think I get in trouble for mentioning Cassie. So let me give you some backdrop. I was convicted of conspiracy for last year for investigating a Whole Foods farm, doing a peaceful protest there, and having no contact order. Cassie's one of the people who I'm not supposed to contact. For the record, I wasn't contacting Cassie. I didn't literally mean Cassie was in my ear. I just meant I'm remembering things Cassie says. She gives me lots of advice. It's usually good advice. Anyways, the most absurd thing about this is in that 15-minute time period, I am absurdly polite. I am trying to be as respectful as possible, even towards aggressive employees and managers and security guards and police officers. And yet I am the one who ends up arrested for threatening bodily injury, a violent crime. And for 2 years, we're fighting this case. We send them the video footage. Boulder, Colorado is a very progressive city, like 80% progressive, 80% anti-Trump, supposedly believe in democracy, civil liberties, all the progressive ideas about how to challenge power. And yet for 2 years, I'm fighting this case, even though we have video footage proving beyond a reasonable doubt that there's not a shred of evidence that I threatened anyone. And we have to fight this case, and we do. And it's not until, I think it was like 1 week or maybe even a couple of days before trial that finally the progressive city attorney of Boulder, Colorado, Tom Carr, I think was his name. All right. Super progressive prosecutor, had been city attorney in Seattle, talking about how we need to stop guns and we need to protect vulnerable people. We need to protect the rule of law and civil liberties. We point out to him that Whole Foods lied. They just outright lied and claimed that I committed a violent crime when I had not. And yet they refused to prosecute the case they refused to drop the prosecution for years until we basically play a game of chicken. They try to get me to plea bargain and say, I admitted some fault, pay some fines, and I have to stay away from Whole Foods. And I was just like, no, I didn't do anything. I did not commit this crime. But it takes years to get that result, even in a progressive Democratic county. And the reason is corporate influence, because these corporations, even in Democratic counties, and maybe especially in Democratic counties, especially these big, huge tech companies, big, huge natural grocery stores, and Whole Foods is owned by Amazon, which is owned by Jeff Bezos, who's a big Democratic donor. These politicians don't follow the law. They don't follow the instructions of the people, which they're supposed to do in a democracy. They follow the instructions of corporate power. And that's what this video will show you. Some other just hilarious moments in this are the aggressiveness of both the manager and the police officer. You know, when the police officers get there, police officers are supposed to be neutral and impartial. And I had, I think quite compelling evidence. Unlike Whole Foods and Diestel, I actually had evidence that Whole Foods committed crimes, because animal cruelty is a crime, consumer fraud is a crime, or it's at least unlawful, right? And it's the obligation of the city attorney, the district attorney, the attorney general of Colorado to enforce the laws of the state of Colorado, even against the powerful. And yet, because it's a corporation, a manager at a corporation complaining, and they didn't know I was a lawyer, they just thought I was an ordinary person, but they immediately take their side and believe all their lies and charge me with a crime. And when I try to explain myself, the cop just immediately cuts me off and says, I'm done here. And then it's kind of hilarious. There's this moment where I say, like, well, thank you, officer. I appreciate you being here and being willing to listen to what I'm saying. I'd love to shake your hand. And the cop says, I don't shake hands. And this is one of my experience for many years, that the police officers are trained. They have a culture of following corporate power, not just corporate power, that law enforcement is beholden to the powerful and not to the people. Another thing that's really interesting about this is that in the court opinion many years later, as a result of this lawsuit, the judge who ruled against me without a trial acted very similarly to the manager and the officer, in the sense that she writes this long opinion based on nothing, because there was no trial, about how we have all these affidavits, all these witnesses, all these people have claimed that Whole Foods is lying, but we're all vegans. And so it doesn't matter. Like, all the people on the defense side are vegans, so it doesn't matter. We don't even need to have a trial, because we don't need to listen to vegans. Not that different than the cop who says, I don't need to listen to you. I listen to Whole Foods. I listen to the powerful. And that is a violation of the Constitution. You have a right to be a witness. You have a right to testify in court. There's no rule that as vegans, you can't testify in court. There's no rule that as vegans, your testimony doesn't matter or should be taken to have less weight than a non-vegan. In fact, it's exact opposite. Under the Constitution, under court rules in every single jurisdiction in the United States, juries and courts are expected to give every witness the benefit of doubt and start all of them from ground zero, whether it's an officer, an ordinary citizen, a vegan, a non-vegan, a Buddhist, a Muslim, a Christian. You're supposed to start the court system's examination of evidence from ground zero. And the fact that even the judge herself in this case, Judge Julia Spain, is pointing out that all of our witnesses as vegans is kind of curious and interesting. But the last thing I'll say is, you might think like, well, I mean, surely there's some sort of appellate process, Supreme Court. And what we have found to date, and I'm going to say this, and this comes at some risk to myself, but it's just the truth, that even in the appellate process, where you have all these fancy lawyers in places like Harvard and Berkeley, the Court of Appeals actually doesn't even give you the time of day. When I was arguing this case previously, the Court of Appeals did not even bother to read the briefs, did not understand what I was saying. I don't know if it was because they're having a bad day, because they're exhausted, maybe because, some of them, there's an older gentleman who had a cane and seemed to struggle to hear me, kind of reminded me of Joe Biden, but much worse. Maybe they just literally just can't understand what I'm saying. But after years of litigating this case, even the most distinguished or supposedly distinguished judges in the state of California have not even given us a response to explain why you could hold someone liable to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars without a trial. So you might think, oh, this is all gloom and doom, very sad. But here is the great thing, and this is why it's so important for you to listen to this podcast, for you to watch this video and understand the power we have. No matter what happens to me, the fact that millions and millions of people have seen these videos, and the most recent video we posted on Instagram has now close to 1 million views. We posted stuff about Diestel before that's gotten millions and millions of views. And the fact that millions of people are complaining to Whole Foods and saying this isn't right. This shows that we have power, that people are actually willing to stand up for what's right if they're given the information. And that's what gives me hope. The reality is I don't have any money left anyways. They can try and hold me liable for hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's like trying to get blood from a stone. I don't have any money left. What I do have is your support. And so I hope you watch this little and hilarious live stream. I hope you watch the shorter version of this on Instagram. And I hope you stay tuned for more because we're in court today. We'll find out whether the Court of Appeals is going to give me the right to the trial that I deserve, the animals deserve, that the Constitution deserves. But no matter what happens, we're in this together and we're going to win. So thanks to all of you. Without further ado, here's Wayne versus Whole Foods in Boulder, Colorado.
Hey everyone, Wayne here. I'm in very cold Colorado. You can see the snow inside of me. And many of you know that I've been banned from every Whole Foods in California that I've ever been to. They call the cops. They threaten to put me in jail for asking them questions about where their meat comes from. Well, today I'm in another state asking the same questions. And the turkey ranch that I'm going to be talking about is the same turkey ranch that has sued me and claimed that I'm a thief for taking out mutilated and tortured baby birds like this baby bird out of their turkey farm. So our goal today is to convince Whole Foods to allow me to put this sign next to the butcher shop. This is a very clear warning sign. It's very factual, doesn't have any opinions. It just says that there are misleading and deceptive practices happening in the meat industry. The animals are being tortured, and multiple investigations, even of humane farms, have found practices like this. I don't know what's going to happen because I have been banned from Whole Foods. One of the turkey farms is suing me and alleging quite serious criminal charges against me, but we're going to make an effort. And we're going to have to sneak in carefully because from what I hear, the security guards here follow activists around. So I don't know what's going to happen, but your support means a lot. The other thing you could do is make a phone call to Whole Foods right now because we're establishing our campaign today. We're going to ask for the right to know for customers, for citizens, for people, for the animals too, that everyone deserves to know what's actually happening behind the closed doors of Big Ag. And Whole Foods, according to their corporate values, believes in transparency. So we're asking for exactly what they've already promised their customers. And even beyond that, if the cops do arrive, I'm armed with a couple statutes. One is the Colorado Criminal Code, Section 189202, which indicates that a person commits aggravated cruelty to animals if he or she knowingly tortures or needlessly kills an animal. And this, my friends, counts as torture and killing an animal needlessly. Second, I have a copy of the Colorado Consumer Protection Statute that indicates that a person engages in unlawful deceptive trade practice when they knowingly make a false representation as to the characteristics of goods, food, services, or property. And obviously, calling this humane, calling this free range is a deceptive trade practice. So the violation of law that's happening at this grocery store is by Whole Foods and by the farms that it supplies from. They are torturing animals in violation of Colorado law, and they are lying about it, which is also a violation of Colorado law. So if the cops come, that's the case I'm going to make for why I have a right to be here. The consumers have a right to know, and the animals have the right to be treated with decency, not to be tortured. But as many of you know, the cops are not necessarily on our side. So we'll see what happens. But does anyone have any questions before I go in? My heart's beating, and I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm going to need your support as we go through this. And one thing you can do right now is just share the live stream. If everyone could share it. I got a Tarrant on my back. I'm really glad Tarrant's here with me. Tarrant's an incredibly brave activist who's been arrested in Whole Foods, so I'm surprised they're even willing to do this after the bad experiences they've had in Whole Foods. But I'm really glad they're brave enough to come with me. I'm glad you're brave enough to come with me too. And if you could share this live stream so more people start making these phone calls, call Whole Foods and ask them for the right to know. Ask them.
Penny just shared.
Thank you, Penny. Saskia, thank you very much.
Familiar faces joining.
Great, awesome. So please call Whole Foods and say consumers and citizens have the right to know when birds are being tortured, when they're confined in factory farms. And one of the questions I want to upright ask them is, are you supplying from factory farms? You claim you're a different sort of grocery store. You claim that values matter in your company. So are you supplying from factory farms? We'll see if we can get a straight answer. And again, we're not trying to target any employees. One of the things I'd really advise you to do if you ever do an action like this is always act in as polite and respectful and loving a way as you possibly can, because the action itself is disruptive and confrontational enough. Even bringing the sign in, showing people this image of a mutilated baby bird who had her face burned off by a laser is confrontational enough. We don't need to be any more confrontational with our tone of voice and our demeanor. So I'm going to be very, very respectful to every single person I talk to. And if I fail that, you guys need to call me out and tell me, Wayne, be more respectful, be more love-based, because that's what DXC is all about. We're about nonviolence and love-based activism. Okay? Any questions before we go on?
Peggy is asking where are we?
We're in Colorado, Boulder, Colorado. I'm actually about to give a talk at the University of Colorado. So if I get arrested, there's not going to be any talk tonight. So hopefully I don't get arrested. Aiden is probably having a heart attack listening to this right now because Aiden is expecting me to give a talk. But it's important enough for me to expose animal ag across the entire world, across the country, and for us to give you and all of your friends and family members the right to know about what's actually happening behind these closed doors. So everywhere I go, I try and bring awareness with me. And I need you there with me. And one thing you can do, of course, as always, is share this live stream, because the more people who share, the more people are going to hear, the more people are going to make phone calls, the more likely it is that Whole Foods will support the right to know and start putting warning signs next to its meat. Sound good to everyone? You all ready?
Lots of support.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do this. Let's hope I don't get into too much trouble.
Here we are, folks, Whole Foods in snowing Colorado. As Wayne said, he brings the truth wherever we go. So we're gonna walk right into Whole Foods.
So I'll just walk in here. The one thing that's a little awkward is I'm bringing this big, huge sign and all these images. But one of the tricks of the trade is just act like you know what you're doing. Act like you're supposed to be there. And usually no one cares. And I'm gonna grab a basket, probably shop for some vegan cookies. Many of you know that I love vegan cookies. So I'll shop for some vegan cookies to show that I'm actually a customer, that I'm not against everything this corporation does. There are good things they do, and one good thing that they do is sell vegan cookies. So we'll start out by getting some of those vegan cookies.
Here we are in Whole Foods in Boulder, Colorado, y'all. Shopping first.
So let's go get some cookies first, and then I'm going to show you guys some of the deceptive practices that they're using to sell their meat. All right, let's just go get some cookies. The cookies, from what I understand, are in the back corner of the grocery store, so I'm really excited about that.
As some folks saw, there's a security.
Yeah, there's a security guard already following us, so we'll see what he does, but I'm just going to play it cool, which is the way you should always do it. You know, don't act like you don't have the right to do what we believe we have the right to do, and we believe that anywhere animals are being tortured, we have a right to speak out and to share with the public what's happening and why it needs to stop. So just always play it cool, be confident, and it looks like we lost it. So he's not following us any longer. Thank you very much for giving me that support, folks. Success number one. We lost the security guard. So I've heard the vegan cookies here are extremely good.
I can attest to that. They are extremely tasty.
Terry is telling me the cookies are extremely good.
Have any of you on the live stream tried these cookies or any other vegan cookies?
Vegan cookies are going to save the world. There's only one thing more important than direct action, and that is vegan cookies. No, I'm kidding. I'm half kidding. Vegan cookies are amazing. So let's check it out real quick. And one good thing about buying something at a store like this is, again, it shows you got the vegan cookies, right? Wonderful chocolate chip cookies. But the good thing about buying something when you're about to do something a little confrontational and disruptive is it shows that you're making an act of good faith. That I don't hate you all. In fact, this is an action that's love-based. We think that Whole Foods and the employees at Whole Foods are all better off. And one trivial example of that is the chemicals and antibiotics they're using in these factory farms are going to kill us all. The diseases being bred in these turkey farms will eventually jump to our families, to our kids, and kill off our families. So this is not just a threat to the animals, it's a threat to the planet and a threat to the employees that work here. Because they're handling that meat, they're touching that meat, and that meat is filled with disease, chemicals, and antibiotics. So we're approaching the meat counter, and this is pretty typical. It's always really sad to see these things, but you got things like pasture-raised whole chicken, right? It says pasture-raised. You got a chicken in a grassy pasture. And what they don't tell you, obviously, is, and let me just show you guys again, that the pastures they're talking about look like this, right? This is what the pasture actually looks like. It's a factory farm where there are thousands of hens ran. And Whole Foods has this global animal partnership certification program where they talk about how they're giving the animals enhanced outdoor access. The animals are well treated, it's humane, but that could not be further from the truth. And again, this is not just an ethical issue, this is a legal issue where California's Animal Consumer Protection Statute indicates that a person engaging in a deceptive trade practice, knowingly making a false representation as to the characteristics of food, is engaged in unlawful and in fact criminal conduct. So there's criminal conduct happening at this Whole Foods. They're torturing animals, they're mutilating animals needlessly, and they're lying about it, which is consumer fraud. So let's go over to the butcher, and I'm just going to say, you know, I'm a customer coming in from out of town, doing a little tour, and I have some questions about the local foods. And we're not going to videotape the employees because we're not trying to put them on the spot. We just want to get answers from the company because they've never been able to give us answers before. So you can see here they have Diestel Turkey Ranch. And for those of you who don't know, this is actually the turkey ranch that's suing me. They're alleging that I'm a criminal because I took some photographs inside their factory farm and rescued turkeys like this baby turkey. And because we took baby turkeys who had been mutilated and were being tortured out of their farm, they're alleging I'm a criminal. So it's very appropriate that I'm here to ask a question today. Hi there.
Can I help you guys with anything?
I'm a customer. I'm getting some cookies here.
Yeah.
But I'm also on a little food tour
Okay.
of Colorado because I'm from out of town.
Okay.
And we're
You're
just,
not filming me, are you?
we won't film you at all. She's getting it from me, and because I just remember this trip. I'm from California, but we wanted to ask some questions about some of the products. Is that okay?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Oh, we can't ask questions.
Nope.
Because on your website it says that transparency is really important.
It is
to the
really
company.
important. What
It's
are
one
your
of the
questions?
values. So I can't ask some questions.
What are your questions?
So this is a turkey ranch that says enhanced outdoor access.
Yes.
Right here, it's Diestel Turkey Ranch. And you know, I've actually been in their turkey ranch, and this is a picture of what it actually looks like.
I'm going to ask you to leave now.
Okay, so I can't ask any questions?
We're done.
Okay. We also have a sign here that we're hoping maybe the store could
No,
post.
we're going to ask you to take this all outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a truthful sign about the fact that there are misleading practices happening here. And I'm actually a lawyer, and can I show you the Colorado Consumer Protection Statute, ma'am? Okay. I wanted to show her the Colorado Consumer Protection Statute because it is illegal to engage in deceptive practices. So if you're torturing a baby turkey like this, and what happens to these baby turkeys is they take a laser to their face and burn their faces off. And this baby turkey was in so much pain, was so mutilated, she was starving to death.
And so what does the sign say?
So the sign says to ensure safety and animal welfare, the federal, state, and local government provide certain minimum standards. However, there are no established definitions for what terms like humane, natural, and organic mean. So the fact that it says enhanced outdoor access does not mean animals are not being tortured or not being raised indoors, which is a violation of consumer trust, but it's also a violation of Colorado law. So I want to see if there's anyone else. Is there any chance I could talk to you about some of the products?
I'm a team member.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, we're just trying to kind of show people what turkey farms at Whole Foods actually look like. I've actually been inside Diestel Turkey Ranch, and while they say the turkeys are raised outdoors, it actually says enhanced outdoor access right now. The turkeys are actually raised in a big factory farm, and we just want to give consumers the right to know. So there's a statute in Colorado actually that makes it unlawful to falsely advertise your products. And it makes it also unlawful to mutilate and kill an animal unnecessarily. And we tried to get Whole Foods to talk to us. They've been unwilling to talk to us. So we're coming in retail stores, just kind of sharing with the employees, the customers, anyone who wants to know what is actually happening. So, and you can see some of these pictures. So what happens to these baby turkeys is they take a laser, because they're raised in a factory farm where they're so crowded they'll peck each other to death. They take a laser to their face when they're babies. Yeah, please. But they take a laser to their face and burn half their face off. I work at a law firm in California. Yeah. Say again? It's called the Current Law Group. It's a technology law firm in Northern California. But on the side, I do investigatory work and research on factory farms, and Whole Foods sources from factory farms, unfortunately, and they lie about it. So they claim this is humane treatment. Northern California. I live in San Francisco, the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay, but what's your firm? Tell me again.
The firm is called the Current Law Group. The organization I volunteer with is called Direct Action Everywhere. We do investigations.
That's all I wanted to remember.
Okay, thank you.
So look you up.
Yeah, please do look us up. This is actually in the Wall Street Journal, what happened to these poor birds. And unfortunately, the company's not willing to talk to us about it. So we go to retail stores and educate customers. Yeah. Thank you very much, ma'am. What was your name? Jay? I'm Wayne. Very nice to meet you. Thank you. And thank you for your care for animals. Yeah. So some of your customers are concerned, and
He left it to us.
I don't want to interrupt her because she's talking to somebody else. Is it okay if I ask one of you some questions? We won't videotape you at all. No?
Okay.
Oh yeah, you got
Okay.
Sorry, we're trying to.
Okay, I'm sorry. I won't ask any questions. It does say on the website, though, that the company
ask their customers to ask whatever questions you have about.
Yeah, but
Okay.
not in this fashion. So I'm actually going to ask you to not film and not ask any more questions. If me and you wanted to sit down and talk a little bit, I might be able to get together some more information for you, but this is not okay with us right now. So I am going to ask you to stop.
Okay, I am a customer, and I had a question, and I think your other customers. I was just asking. You can even talk to her right now.
and
She had questions as well.
I know, but that's not how we go about giving information to our customers. It's not by having a third party person come in. So I'm going to ask you to leave, and I need you to stop filming.
Okay, even though there's something unlawful happening at this grocery store.
Yes.
And even though
There's not anything unlawful going.
no, actually, I can show you the
I'm
statute
going to
right
need
now.
you. Please.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're welcome to call the cops and have me
will.
arrested. Okay, that's fine. I mean, I'm totally fine. And I can share with the cops why I think something unlawful is happening here and why customers have the right to know. So you're going to call the cops? You want to throw me in jail?
Yeah.
For asking questions?
I'm going to call the Boulder Police Department and ask them to remove you from the store because that's what I've asked is for you to leave.
Okay. Even though, again, it's on your corporate policy.
I've told
and
you
I think
that I'm willing to sit down not being filmed and the fact that you're filming
We're not
my
filming
audio.
you at all.
I know, but you're getting my audio, which I'm not saying okay to.
Okay. So would you be willing to sit down with activists afterwards if we weren't filming and answer some of these questions?
I am willing to be able to get you some information, but I cannot do that today.
But you can't answer questions. I mean, not on film, separately. Other activists who come and share with you some of these photographs. Is it concerning to you that baby birds are having their faces
We're
burned
done.
off?
I'm calling the police.
What's that?
I'm calling the police.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I'll talk to the police as well. But
But I need you to go outside.
okay, but I just want to say that on your website, and this is corporate HQ, so this is, I think, what corporate HQ tells the customers.
I need you to leave, please.
Should I show? Can I show you the website where it says we're allowed to ask questions?
Please leave.
Okay. I mean, what do you suggest I do if corporate HQ is not willing to talk to us, management's not willing to talk to us? Will you talk to us then, or will someone in corporate HQ talk to us? Because these are real concerns that we have. No? Please, could you call? I'll be as polite as respectful as I possibly can in our conversation.
You're already not being respectful because I've already asked you to leave and stop and take your sign and take your camera and leave the store. So you're already disrespecting what I'm asking you to do.
Okay, but do you understand? Okay, do you understand the concern that we have? That we're not able to have a conversation, and as a customer, my nieces are being threatened by these practices. This is a danger to the entire planet. The antibiotics they're using here, these diseases could kill. Do you have kids, ma'am? These diseases could kill your kids. This is really serious stuff. So I will leave if okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I need you to leave.
I will leave if the company is willing to just answer some basic questions.
Please leave.
If the company is willing to answer some basic questions, which you commit to doing on the website, it's your corporate policy, then I'll leave. I'm just asking for what the company has promised all of its customers. And I'm a customer, I'm buying these cookies. I really believe in your values as they're stated on the website, and I'm just trying to ask the company to live up to the promise it's given me as a customer. Is that all right? No? Could you give me a suggestion of what you think I should do to get a question answered? Do you have any suggestions? Because I'm at a loss. I'm sure you're a good person. I'm sure you care. Most people work at Whole Foods work here because you have good values. You want the company to do better by the planet, by people like you and I, like your kids. One of my nieces got sick a couple of years ago. Okay. But can you give me a suggestion of what I can do?
I can ask you to leave, and that's what I'm doing right now, and I'm doing it very nicely.
Yeah.
And I need
No, I appreciate that.
Stop.
I really, really appreciate that. And I understand.
Please leave. You're causing a scene here that is unnecessary, so you need to leave.
So if I lowered my voice, can we have a conversation more quietly? No?
We're done.
Okay, so you don't have any suggestions about how I can get a question answered? I mean, do any of you have any ideas on how I can get a question answered?
Sir?
No?
Please stop filming me.
Okay, we won't film you. I apologize. I apologize.
Now you need to leave.
Okay. I'm sorry, Tarot, I'm sure is apologetic as well. They did not mean
You're
to
not,
film.
though.
No, I
You have
am.
to Stop. And you have filmed me now twice.
Okay.
When I've asked to not be
we will
filmed.
not do that again. And if the company is willing to answer
It's
questions.
getting worse for you because I've already asked you to leave.
Okay.
I've asked you to stop filming. I've asked you to stop filming me, which you have refused to do.
Yeah.
You're becoming a bigger problem than is necessary.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm really
You're
sorry.
not sorry though.
No, I am. My goal is not to disrupt anyone's life. And the reason I'm
But
here.
you're being very disruptive to everyone who's
Okay.
in here right now.
But the thing is, endangering the planet and causing diseases that are making my nieces sick is also disrupting our
I don't
lives.
know how many more ways to say this.
Do you agree that MRSA is a serious threat? That 20,000 kids dying every year is a serious threat to the planet and is probably more disruptive than a conversation in a grocery store that is committed to giving customers transparency? That's probably more disruptive, right? Well, thank you, man. I will leave. If you could just give me a name and number of someone I could talk to. You can't give me a name or a number. Even though it says on the website that we have the right to know,
how our food is being produced? No? Thank you, man.
Twice now. Please take that sign. Please stop filming.
Do you work here, ma'am? Do you work here, ma'am? If you want to answer a question.
Sorry.
You don't work here?
Sorry, I'm on break.
Yeah, right. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Well,
I'm gonna do that now.
okay. Do you, if I go outside, can we have a conversation off live stream? No. I mean, these are serious problems that we're talking about that are endangering the entire planet. Okay. Do you care about the environment, man? What are the things that you care most about? No? Okay. Well, you know, the manager's not really willing to talk to me right now. And again, this is unfortunately common practice at Whole Foods, that they're not willing to answer any questions. And when you try to get a question answered, they threaten to call the police and throw you in jail for it, which is a pretty traumatic response. So she's calling the police right now and saying that, you know, they also said something that's false, which is that I was loud and disruptive. And I think I've been talking in a pretty respectful tone throughout. So,
I have some customers that are
yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what to do at this point because on the one hand, the website says that we're able to ask questions and get transparency. On the other hand, you know, they threaten to put you in jail the moment you ask a question. So I'm not sure what to do right now. Because I don't know whether to listen to this manager or to listen to the website. I mean, what do you guys think I should do? Should I listen to the website or the manager?
Let's see. Leave a comment and let's see what do you guys think. Kim Wager says Whole Foods is anything but whole. Mitch is sending lots of love.
Okay, well, this is threatening to throw me in jail. Good one, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Carol
So
is saying
that-
website. They want
Ma'am,
us
is it okay if I at least buy my cookies before I go? No? Okay, so they're not going to let me buy these cookies, so I guess I can't buy these cookies. But what do you guys think? Should I stay? I kind of have to do this talk tonight. So
Penny Norman says, no, you've not been disruptive at all.
So I can't buy these cookies?
Sean's asking,
Should I just put it down or what should I do?
Please stop filming. Right now.
Well, we want to document it, especially since you're threatening.
Alyssa Landy is saying, website, we deserve answers. Thank you for your support, Paul Denning. And
So I'll just do a quick speak out just so everyone knows what happened here.
Carol is saying Whole Foods is lying.
Folks, if I could have your attention very briefly. I just asked Whole Foods a question about where their turkey comes from because this is a photograph from one of their turkey farms where they burned a baby bird's face off. And they're claiming this is free-range and humane. All I did is ask a question and they called the police on me. I asked the manager a question about this baby bird who had her face burned off at a Whole Foods turkey farm. I took this photograph. I saw these birds starving to death because their faces were mutilated. The company says they do not mutilate animals. This is the proof.
Please leave.
Can I just answer?
No, you cannot. You need to go outside.
You just want a
Stop
question
filming
answered.
me. I've asked you to do this.
Well, what should I do with these cookies? Should I just leave them here?
Yes.
Okay. I leave them here.
Leave.
But please look into how look
Right
into how
Sir,
this food is
you're
actually being
free to speak,
produced
but you can't be on
because it is a danger
Please
to the
leave.
planet. It's a danger to your kids, and it's cruel to animals.
Sir.
This is a violation of Colorado law.
Let's go.
Thank you very much.
Let's go. You need to leave right now.
Please take this.
So can I talk to you?
Please go.
Okay, what they own on their property, go all the way over there to the sidewalk. All the way over there. All the way over there. You want to do whatever you want over there?
Okay.
More power to you. Anything in this parking lot, they own.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Can you answer any questions, sir?
I will not.
Okay. Thank you. So can you just show me where exactly I need to go?
You got to go to the sidewalk.
Hello,
Once
sir.
you get to the sidewalk, that's
Yeah.
These folks asked you to leave
Yeah.
a number of times. If you fail to do that, you can be arrested for trespassing.
I see. I was just
So we
asking a
need
question.
to
Is
leave
that-
immediately.
Okay.
Otherwise, you stand being arrested.
Okay, even though I was just asking a question? Can't ask a question?
Once they decide they don't want you here any longer,
Okay.
they have the authority to tell you to leave.
Okay. Even though this is a public grocery store. I didn't know that. Okay.
Private grocery store open to the public.
Okay.
Right.
On their website, it actually says you're allowed to ask
I'm done.
questions.
I'm done.
Done? Okay.
Talking with you.
So
too.
I'm just-
So your decision is stay get arrested or cited or leave.
I understand. Okay, so can I go on the sidewalk over there? Is that
Public
okay?
sidewalk
But I can't
over
be
there
here.
on Pearl. Correct.
Okay, so on this side of the street.
That's correct.
Okay, we'll go there. Thank you very much,
Okay,
officer.
you
I
bet.
appreciate
Have
it.
a good day.
I appreciate how polite and respectful.
No worries. I don't shake hands with you.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so we're gonna go to the public sidewalk. They were not able to answer a question. Let's just find the crosswalk. Where is the crosswalk?
I don't want them on our property at all.
Yeah,
They need to leave them.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Appreciate
Stop
it.
filming.
We're not filming you. Don't worry.
Get a gun.
It's filming me. Don't worry. Okay. Thank you very much.
So we just got kicked out of Whole Foods for trying to listen to their website and ask some questions about what their practices are. And even though many of their practices are illegal, as Colorado law enforcement doesn't even want us to question if they're legal or not, because we have to remove ourselves.
Sir, can I ask one question? Can I ask you a quick question? Yes. Can I go do it over there or over here? Can I ask one quick question? I have a complaint about deceptive practices at the company. I mean, they're not willing to answer the question. This is the copy of Colorado, Section 610105, the Colorado Consumer Protection Statute. And it says it's a person engaging in deceptive trade practice, including knowingly making a false representation about the characteristics of the food, is engaged in criminal conduct. So if I wanted to report that about Whole Foods, where would I report that, and could you take
Colorado
action?
Attorney General's office.
Okay, so I can't report it to you.
No.
Okay.
No. For something like this, you want to get with the Colorado Attorney General's office, right?
Okay.
Okay. Who do you contact when you're in California?
In California, we contact the local district attorney bring civil actions for consumer fraud.
Okay, well, you can start with the 20th Judicial.
Okay.
That's who is for Boulder County.
Okay.
Or the Colorado Attorney General's
Okay.
office.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
Because the concern is they're claiming that these birds are not mutilated, and here's the definitive proof: this bird was definitely mutilated.
Okay. Well,
and that's not right. And we just had a question. That's it.
I'm not here to do whatever is going on with that.
For sure.
They've asked you to leave. You guys see
Okay, I'll do that.
line and stuff. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. I
I need
appreciate it.
IDs for both of you. You are going to be issued a ticket for trespassing.
Okay. You know what? I actually don't have an ID on me.
Then I have to take you to jail and have you post a bond.
Okay. I could grab my passport, but I think I lost my driver's license. I'm gonna have my bar card.
Passport to work.
I have my passport
Do you have an
at
ID,
home.
No, I don't. Not on me.
I don't have my ID on me, unfortunately.
Okay. So then I take you to jail and have you post a $250 bond for trespassing.
Even though
Is that what you want to do?
no, I don't. But I mean, all I did was ask a question. So.
Once they tell you to leave, you've got to honor that and
Okay.
leave. And they say you did not.
Okay.
Stay.
Well, I'm leaving now, and on their website
Beyond
it
that
says,
point, they
okay.
want you charged with trespassing. So the only question now is, do you provide some IDs, in which case I can give you a ticket,
Okay.
or do you not provide an ID, in which case you go to jail and post a bond?
Yeah, I don't have an ID on me, so
Okay,
I'd
so
have
then you go
to.
to jail. Ma'am, do you have an ID?
What's that?
You have one in your vehicle?
I have one at home, so we could go back to where
In my
I'm staying.
vehicle.
Pardon
I'm
me?
supposed to give a talk
my
at the University of
vehicle.
Colorado, so that would be pretty.
Okay, so you need to go to your vehicle and get an ID.
No, it is what it
Otherwise,
is.
you're going to suffer the same fate as him,
Yeah.
and that's go to jail and post a bond.
Okay, all
So
for asking questions.
we were just leaving, but we asked
were there
if
for
we
like-
could- we
Well,
were just
but
leaving, and we
it's
asked
open to
if
the
we
public.
could ask
A
you
question.
police officers a question,
I
and you
understand
told
what
us
you
to
said.
come back on. We were leaving, and you told us if we wanted to ask you a question.
Right? You're not
come
being
back.
trespassed for that period of time.
Okay.
When you left and came back, but for the period
Sure.
of time that you were inside.
So for a couple minutes, because we asked a question, we didn't leave instantly, even though it's open to the public.
You're not understanding me.
Okay.
So step 2 now is identification, ticket, or no identification in jail.
I don't have identification other than my
Okay.
bar card, so
Turn around for me, place your hands behind your back, and interlace your fingers. You're going to jail.
thank you very much. Should I put this down?
What's going to be her purpose here?
She's also, if she can't provide an ID, she says she has one in her car.
You have one in your car?
Yes.
Why don't you go with this officer and go ahead and get it?
So to be clear, I'm
Okay.
being charged with
I'm
trespass for
following
going
him.
into a grocery store that's open to the public and asking a question.
So currently, I'm being walked to my vehicle to get an ID while Wayne is being arrested. Just for asking a question, which Whole Foods says that we can do. Wayne is currently being arrested, and the fact that they're giving
going, honey?
right there, ma'am,
one?
the blue Subaru. The reason that this is happening is we were on our way out, but as our legal right, we wanted to ask the officer a question, and he made it very clear that to do that, we had to come back on. But instead of protecting people who are just trying to ask the officers a question as our legal right, they chose to take advantage of that and arrest us. Is it okay if I put this in my trunk, ma'am?
Yeah.
All right. So, I guess this is what happens when you ask Whole Foods a question. And
Where are you going before you go in the car?
my ID is in my glove compartment.
Okay. Do you mind if I open your glove compartment?
No, I don't.
You can just reach into it.
You're
After I
welcome.
make sure it's safe.
So, this officer is grabbing my.
Is this you?
Yep, that's my driver's license.
Add Tourette. Is that your first name?
A turret.
Do you want to lock the door?
Yes, ma'am.
Wait, I'll head back there.
Okay. Hello, Officer Barclow. I'm wondering, so do you think that, because we asked Whole Foods a question.
I'm not going to comment. Thank you.
Okay. Do you have any kids or do you love animals? Okay. Well, Whole Foods was silent and refused to make a statement, and now the officers who are here to protect us, all my life I've been told that the government is here to protect us, are not willing to make a statement either. And this is really sad because not only is what these companies and corporations are doing is morally wrong, but it's against Colorado law. And that is heartbreaking.
Okay, so your friend says you can call somebody to bring his passport here, and they're like 10 minutes away, he says.
I can probably.
So you
see
can
if
try
I-
that. What I'll do is I'll release him with a ticket like I'm going to do you if you can get his passport brought here that identifies him.
Okay.
Okay? So you got, as long as it takes me to issue you a ticket to do that.
Okay.
So I would suggest you stop filming and make.
We don't have to hurt animals. You can protect them. We don't have to kill them. We can care for them. And that's who we're meant to be, right? That's who we are when we're at our best. We're caring for each other and for the other living beings of this earth and not hurting them.